and welcome to the Norisring. It's the 4th race weekend of the DTM season about to begin, and we're very excited to be here at this amazing city circuit. It's the only city circuit in the calendar, and it's a very challenging racetrack, but we love it. So let's get excited because the 7th qualifying of the season is about to begin.
Verena, you're absolutely right. It is one that causes great excitement. We're here for qualifying for DTM. Welcome to Nuremberg and to the Norisring, this extraordinary circuit, which is erected year after year by about 600 volunteer helpers who put these public roads to become the 2.3 kilometre Norisring circuit for young fans like this one to really enjoy the race action, which will come a little bit later on, but setting the grid for the race action that will come from DTM. It's all about this qualifying session, which is about to get underway. Some of the key facts with regards to the creation of this circuit: 3 kilometres of water pipes, more than 5 kilometres of power supply lines, 5 kilometres of threefold cash barriers as well. So we look at the Timo Glock car. Timo Glock, who of course, I had a conversation with him last night, and it was great to talk to him because, as he said, the old man's is leading the points because himself and Gary Paffett. So we see Dieter Gas then, the boss of Audi, who didn't have a good time of it in free practice this morning. Their best car was P9 in free practice too. You can't read too much into free practice. There is Gary Paffett then, the British driver, who's had a stellar start to the season. And he will be hoping that he can continue that rich vein of form going into this Norisring round here. And his final stages of preparation before the green light, and also the case for the Timo Glock car. All these garages are temporary buildings that are erected.
Okay, Timo, radio check 1, 2, can you hear me?
Just for this weekend.
Yeah, radio's okay.
As I was saying, I was having a lovely conversation with Timo last night. It's a real enigmatic character, and a lot of that is shown, of course, on the racing circuit when he goes racing. Here is the young Austrian driver, Lucas Auer, then, in car number 22. He looked very promising in free practice earlier, and there you can see the reason why. The results of free practice too. It was Edo Mortara for Mercedes-Benz, then it was Paul di Resta, then Lucas Auer, the guy that we've just seen, and Timo Glock P4, with the BMW of Marco Wittmann right behind him. Now, what was interesting was the best in FP2 for Gary Paffett, who's P2 in the championship at the moment, was a P11. But more of a talking point was where Audis were situated during the course of that free practice session. So there is Paul di Resta about to make his way down the pit lane and await the green light, which is 1 minute and 45 seconds away. So on board with the Paul di Resta car. Now the big red and black dial that you can see in the middle of his car there is what is used for brake bias between the level of braking power, if you like, between the front and the rear of the car. The drivers make those millimetric adjustments during the course of the sessions to set the car up exactly to their liking. So it is a really short track here. Just 2.3 kilometres, 8 turns, 5 of them left, and 3 of them are right-handers. Big blast down the start-finish straight before the Grundig turn, which is turn number 2. Then another blast of throttle before the Scholler S's, the in and out, the right-hander, then left-hander. And of course, track limits here at the Norisring don't seem to cause a problem like they do in many other circuits. And the reason why they don't, of course, is because the entire track is encased in concrete and Armco barriers. So rather than a white line delineating the track limits, here it is, as I say, either concrete or steel. So we don't find that we have too many track limits issues at the Norisring. What a sight that is down the pit lane then, as all the cars are ready to go out for their qualifying session. Hans-Jürgen Abt then, all smiles. Have they unlocked something from free practice to qualifying? They certainly needed to, and well, Hans-Jürgen Abt certainly looking very happy there. And 4 seconds away from the green light going on, and Mike Rockenfeller will be the first of the cars out there on track. Sure enough, bang on time. It's Mike Rockenfeller followed by Joel Eriksson, then it's Bruno Spangler and René Rast as they make their way out of the pit lane. And then it's Nico Muller and Gary Paffett. So there is Joel Eriksson, the number 47 car. There is Bruno Spangler and René Rast now. This short, sharp qualifying session, just 20 minutes. It's very busy right at the start of the session. Then there's sort of a break in the middle as the drivers come in and reset things. And then they go out for a final blast towards the end of the 20-minute qualifying session. So with Gary Paffett we're on board with right now, giving us a bird's eye view, if you like, of this fantastic circuit. This is Chalorès in, Chalorès out. And a slight change of surface there as the back end of Gary Paffett's car just stepped out as there's tarmac and then the concrete paved areas to the outside and the inside, which only ever really becomes a problem when it's been raining. That's when you find the difference in adhesion that is offered. So here at Norisring, Gary has taken 2 victories, 3 podiums, been in the top 10 9 times, and this will be his 18th race at the Norisring this afternoon. So on for a flying lap now with the British driver Gary Paffett then. Brakes down through the gearbox into the first of the big turns, which is turn number 2, the Grundig turn. Look how close these cars get to the concrete barriers. Still weaving from side to side to generate some temperature into the tyres. As soon as we get any meaningful lap times, we will put them up on the screen for you. But at the moment, it's still outlaps for most of the drivers. Very nearly all of them out on track. We're on board with Timo Glock now. And they're in the Deutsche Post liveried BMW, the man that leads the Drivers' Championship going into this round. Suspect a lock-up coming here, and I wasn't proved wrong. As on those cold tyres, they are very susceptible to locking up early on in this qualifying session. So he exits the Chalorès, and there you can see better the difference in the track surface, the tarmac down the middle, and then the concrete paved area, which the drivers tend to take that on the exit of the Chalorès to get the perfect exit and start that run down to the hairpin, the Duitsendijk hairpin. So at the moment, Jamie Green is the quickest with Paul de Resta P2, then it's Nico Muller, Mike Rockenfeller, Bruno Spangler, René Rast and Gary Paffett. We're on board with Mike Rockenfeller now then. You can see the weaving has gone from gentle to, or it's gone from aggressive to more gentle now. And he is momentarily top of the chart. He gets knocked down to P4 though, because René Rast in the Audi goes quickest. Then it's Bruno Spangler. Lap times at the moment 50s. Expect them to come down from that. So 50.613, but now a 50.426 from Jamie Green, the British driver, and he's eclipsed by another British driver now, Paul de Resta, who goes fastest with a 50.417. The lap record around here is held by Bruno Spangler, which in 2017, last year, was set at an extraordinary 47.846. Cars this year, of course, feature some 30% less downforce than previously, but Spangler has gone PBs in Sector 1 and Sector 2, doesn't move from his current P5 position. Paul de Resta now goes quickest with a 50.417. It's early on in the day, and the temperature is not as warm as perhaps we expected. Here's Gary Paffett that we go back on board with. Uses every single bit of steering lock around the turn. Heads up towards the Chalorès now, braking, getting oh so close to the concrete wall there on the left-hand side as he exits. It's the Armco wall, and then very close to the concrete wall on the complete exit. Paffett is quickest through Sector 1 of anybody, and his previous lap, a 49.4. That's now beaten with a 48.719 from the rookie driver for BMW, Joel Eriksson, who gets locked down or rocked down into P3 as René Rast and Bruno Spangler now each go quicker. So it is Audi, BMW, BMW, Audi, Audi before the best of the Mercedes-Benz now is Pascal Wehrlein in P6. So we're tracking Gary Paffett then in the Mercedes, but immediately go to Timo Glock, and that is how close they get to the concrete wall. It's an absolutely fascinating place, this Norisring circuit, and such a short lap, just 2.3 kilometers, and Glock goes quickest. But he's quickly beaten by Joel Eriksson. It's a 48.317. I did say that the times will come tumbling down. So Joel Eriksson, 48.317 in that car there. Number 47. His first full season of DTM racing. Pascal Wehrlein now goes within 100th of Joel Eriksson. So it's Pascal Wehrlein who is currently P2. There's Augusto Farfus then. Quicker than anyone through Sector 1, PB through Sector 2 and a PB through Sector 3, but it still only gives him P7 as now Paul de Resta in Mercedes-Benz goes quickest with a 48.3, but is quickly ousted by both Philipp Eng and Marco Wittmann, the man that we're on board with right now for BMW Team RMG, but he's usurped by Bruno Spangler, who goes 48.065. You could just see Marco Wittmann there making some adjustments to the brake bias. Here comes Paul de Resta. Paffett now is quickest. Who is going to be the first to get a sub 1:48 time? Who is going to be into the 47s first of all? Well, it's not going to be Paul de Resta. He got jolly close. He's 2 100ths, well, nearly 3 100ths down on the fastest time so far, which has come from Gary Paffett. So Paffett quickest, de Resta second fastest, then it's Bruno Spangler, then it's Lucas Auer. But now it is Philipp Eng for BMW, who has gone sub 148, sub 48. It's a 47.844 from Philipp Eng then. Did it with... that's why we love it. The width of a cigarette paper between Timo Glock's car and the concrete wall. That was great. Here's Lucas Auer, PB, Sector 1. Better than anyone through Sector 2. He improves 4 places, goes up to P3 with a 47.934. So 3 drivers in the 47s. Philipp Eng, Paul de Resta, Lucas Auer. Here comes Edo Mortara. Whoa! And René Rast goes around. Now that was before the change of surface. The back end got out of shape. He collects the concrete barrier, which does not bend. Unfortunately, René Rast's car does bend, as you can see. Significant damage, and that has ruined the qualifying session for René Rast. So some super replays of René Rast pirouetting around then. Nico Muller goes through in avoidance. And René Rast's severely damaged car now is brought back to the pit lane. And the session has been red flagged. Debris across the track, damage to the Audi of René Rast. So with 11, well, just under 12 minutes of the session remaining, it gets red flagged with Philipp Eng, rookie driver, top of the chart on 47.844. So the cooling fans put to the front of René Rast's car, and the team go to work on the back of his car. The Rosberg team with significant work to do. And whether we will see him back out in the qualifying session remains to be seen. The restart is going to be at 10:34. So we have around about 5 minutes for these drivers to come in. And then the session will restart. So the order then, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, then the next 3 places, then BMW. Now the worry here is where the best Audi is, which is P10, Nico Muller. Well, as you can see, René Rast is perfectly okay, and he's out of the car. Of course, you'll remember with some horror the crash that he had at Lausitzring. And there, confirmation on screen of the restart at 10:34. So he's off to be weighed, which really rather reinforces the fact that however hard the Rosberg team work, they are never going to get that car back out on track again. So our cameraman is ushered out of the weighing area. And clearly an official there is pretty cross about our cameraman going to check on René Rast's weight. Well, he had a try. So Philippe Eng then, the rookie driver, is best of the lot. And there you can see the back end of the car just... I was looking to see if there was a tyre suddenly deflating, because René tends not to make errors. Well, you can see the debris that got scattered across the track. Here it just got out of shape, didn't it? I wonder whether he made a little bit of contact on the exit of the Scholler S, just on the inside, and whether that just upset the balance of the car. But there you can see fairly significant damage to that. Now the Rosberg team will be able to sort that, there's no question, but certainly not going to be able to sort it before qualifying recommences in about 3 minutes' time. And this in replay of René getting out of the car. He'll be pretty cross, I would think. And that was the result. The session was red flagged, but recommences in 3.5 minutes' time. So the car goes up on the jacks then, ready for some fairly serious work to be undertaken. So the restart confirmed for 10:34. We have 10:31 bar 10 seconds. It will be 10:32, and there's the order thus far. Philippe Eng with a 47.8. Then it was Paul di Resta, then Lucas Auer. And we have the top 5 drivers in the 47s. So that's Philippe Eng, Paul di Resta, Lucas Auer, Edo Mortara, and Marco Wittmann. Gary Paffett is P6 with a 48.025, and Mike Rockenfeller keen to be out of the blocks once again when the session does resume in 1 3/4 minutes time. So René Rast at the time of the stoppage then was down there in P15, as you can see from the graphics on the left hand side of your screen, and the very best of the Audi drivers, as I mentioned just a few moments ago, was Nico Müller.
Front and not only all around, so you think you need a tiny bit more front, as you said?
Yes, that would be good, yeah.
So listening in on Timo Glock's radio, as René Rast is escorted out of the garage by Daniel Schuster there from Audi. There the Lucas Auer and Edo Mortara car in the HWA garages. Lucas Auer, the young Austrian, currently P3 in this qualifying session. And they're beginning to queue up, ready to get out again in just under a minute's time. There is the number 2 car of Gary Paffett, who's currently P6. He's the first of the drivers not in the 47s. So, as I mentioned, we've got 5 drivers in the 47s, then the rest are all in the 48s. As always, it's very close. There's not even, well, it's 8/10 is the difference between P1 and P18. So data, as you can see on the screen.
Generally for your run preparation, I think as soon as you started to push, you were always amongst the top runners. As you see, Philip in the front is P1. So yeah, cannot tell how it would have looked like towards the end. But anyway, I think the tires will get better and better.
So Wittmann then, who is currently P5. And Mike Rockenfeller is released from the pit lane as we go green once again for the qualifying session for DTM to set the grid for race number 1 gets underway. Following the stoppage after René Rast colliding with the wall. So the Timo Glock car still under some preparations there before the second part of qualifying as the RMG team work on that. Alongside is the car which is currently P1 that you could see. Well, that was Philippe Eng, but now we're back looking to the Lucas Auer car, who is P3. His 9/100ths down on the P1 time, but in P3 at the moment, which if it all stayed the way it does currently, that would mean he would be on the second row of the grid, and the front row, were it to be as we are now, would be Philippe Eng and Paul di Resta. But over the next 10.5 minutes or so, an awful lot will change. So Lucas Auer standing by to get back out onto the track once again. And there is Nico Müller, who, as I mentioned, is the best of the Audi drivers, who is currently 10th fastest. And there is Hans-Jürgen Abt from the Abt team on the pit wall. Marco Wittmann, whose team radio we were hearing just a few moments ago, is currently P5 and second best of the BMWs. Of course, Philipp Eng is the best of them all and the best of all the manufacturers at the moment because he is P1 with that 47.844 time. And some BMW fans there in the grandstands. There's always a huge crowd to come to Norisring to enjoy the DTM races. One weekend every year where this these public roads are converted into this 2.3 kilometre racing circuit. But Mampay to the left-hand side of your screen there from the pit wall as Lucas Auer gets out ahead of the current provisional pole sitter, Philipp Eng, and makes his way back out on track once again. Jamie Green weaving from side to side down the start-finish straight here. Jamie Green's time was a 48.484, his last best time, which only gives him P16 on the grid. There's Bruno Spangler then. Bruno and Timo having a coming together, incidentally, in one of the free practice sessions yesterday. The sessions yesterday affected by weather, it has to be said. There was rain in the air and rain on the ground at various points during the day, and then the track would dry up, and then there would be another shower again. It was a really iffy day weather-wise, but at the moment we've got plenty of cloud around, but it's quite warm and dry, and let's hope it stays that way. So qualifying for DTM is always a great entertainment spectacle because it is so short. It was punctuated, of course, by the Rennie Rast collision, but the drivers now have 8.5 minutes to try and improve on their previous best times, and look how busy it is through the Scholler S's then. Here comes Mike Rockefeller. He was the first out of the pit lane and needs to improve because he's P17 at the moment. So on a hot lap now goes Mike Rockefeller. We run the clock on him to the bottom left of your screen. On with the power. Oh, so close to the concrete barriers. Heads into the Scholler S's now. Already some 4/10ths down on the best time, which has come from Philipp Eng. So this does not look like it's going to be a blistering lap. In fact, he bails out of this lap, as you can see, and slows considerably. So this is not going to be a grid advancement for Mike Rockefeller. Let's ignore this time, and he will try and set the car up now to go for a hot lap as he breaks the timing beam now. As you can see, is some 4.1 down on the best time, so he bailed out of that lap completely and goes for another one now. This is Mike Rockefeller into turn number 2, the Grundig turn. You'll recall that Mike Rockefeller, when we were here last year, involved in that race 2 crash with Gary Paffett. Mike, to be fair, was an innocent bystander, just got collected by the Gary Paffett car and ended up with a broken metatarsal. So Rocky then crosses the sector 2 line and is 7/10ths down, which isn't going to trouble the front runners, but might be an improvement for Mike Rockefeller potentially if he can get it all together in sector 3. So he's about to cross the timing line now, and actually is a long way down, so doesn't improve at all. Lost it all in sector 3, truthfully. Philipp Eng remains the provisional pole sitter at the moment. Pascal Wehrlein is some 5/10ths down and remains in P13. So it's Eng, De Resta, then it's Auer, Mortara, Wittmann, Paffett, Glock, Spengler, Juncker, Deyer, and Nico Müller rounding out the top 10. This is Paul De Resta then. A lock-up coming here potentially. Yes, indeed. You can see the front left locking up as he makes his way into the turn. And we're on board now with Gary Paffett. A PB through sector 1, sector 2. Wasn't earth-shattering, but Can he bring it all together in Sector 3? He heads towards breaking the timing beam now. And doesn't improve, some 0.8 down on provisional pole. Paul di Resta with a better than anyone through Sector 2 is P2. No one at the moment troubling Philipp Eng, although Daniel Juncadella has moved up to P3. Again, the width of a piece of paper between the arm coat and the car. And back on board with Gary Paffett then. Down there in P7 with a 48.025, his previous best. 6 drivers are in the 47s. And Gary is the first one of those still in the 48s. This could be a good lap from Daniel Juncadella as well. As we run the screen just to the bottom left of your screen, the times are on Daniel Juncadella. He heads towards the timing line now. And lost out in the last sector, being a 10th down. So it's Eng, di Resta, Juncadella remains P3 for the moment, but clearly he's got the Mercedes-Benz to his liking around this 2.3-kilometre Norisring circuit. Here is Bruno Spangler then, BMW driver, PB through Sector 1. A fairly standard Sector 2. And breaks the timing beam now for Sector 3, and it's P9 for Bruno Spangler. So no one for the moment with 4 minutes remaining, troubling Philipp Eng. Gary Paffett, however, has moved up to P2 with a 47.872. So it's Eng, Paffett, di Resta, then it's Juncadella, Auer, Mortara and Wittmann. And Edo Mortara on a hot one now. So brakes, last year you may recall involved in that 3-way battle, almost photo finish across the timing line with Marco Wittmann and Matthias Ekström. So Mortara improves to go P4. Bruno Spangler, 3 PBs, gives him P7. And here comes Joel Eriksson. So Edo Mortara actually does make contact, albeit a glancing blow to the concrete wall. Where is Edo Mortara at the moment? We saw him just a few moments ago. P4 for Edo Mortara. So it's BMW leading a raft of Mercedes-Benz cars. The best of the Audis remains Nico Müller in P10. Timo Glock improves to go to P8. Just see his car there. Lucas Auer is currently P7. We are running out of time. Just 2.5 minutes remain in this qualifying session. But now Mortara with a 47.843 does go quickest of anyone. And relegates Philipp Eng, who's been in that top position for quite some minutes during this qualifying session. Now P2. Marco Wittmann also looking good here with 2 PBs through Sector 1 and Sector 2. So the clock at the bottom left-hand side of your screen on Marco Wittmann. He crosses the timing line now and improves 2 places to go to P3. All of a sudden, with less than 2 minutes remaining in this qualifying session, everything hots up, including Marco Wittmann's tyres, which means he ruins that lap. So Wittmann will have to set it up now for one more lap. It's Mortara, and Mortara's in the pit lane, so he will feel that he's done as much as he can do, because there will not be time for Mortara to get out of the pit lane and go for another lap with just 1.5 minutes remaining in this qualifying session to set the grid for race number 1. There you can see the Edo Mortara car in the pit lane. His qualifying session done and dusted. For the moment, he is provisional pole, but there is still 1 minute and 10 seconds of this qualifying session left to run. No one is going green or purple in the sectors at the moment. This is Philipp Eng, who was fastest of them all for so long during qualifying. Some 3/10 down on Edo Mortara, but he remains with the previous lap in that P2 position. So a front row start for Philipp Eng at the moment, with 3/4 of a minute remaining. Loic Duval then is currently P15, so it's a real Mercedes-Benz BMW fest across the top 9 places. The only one that's colouring up the sector segments at the moment, or the only 2 drivers, are Spangler and Loic Duval. So it looks pretty much like this is the order that we're going to get for the grid for race 1 here at the Norisring. Wittmann dives into the pit lane. Here comes Joel Eriksson, who is currently P11. Bruno Spangler crosses the timing line 2 tenths down, and with the checkered flag out now, anyone that crosses the timing line now will not be able to complete the lap. But even those that are on laps at the moment, no one's colouring up the sector segments. So the order that we will have will be Eduardo Mortara, Philipp Eng, then it will be Marco Wittmann P3, Gary Paffett P4, then it will be Paul di Resta, Daniel Juncadella, Lucas Auer, Timo Glock, Bruno Spangler, Nico Müller. Then we'll see Joel Eriksson, Augusto Farfus, Jamie Green, Pascal Wehrlein, Loic Duval, Robin Frins, Mike Rockenfeller, and René Rast, of course, didn't take part in the latter stages of qualifying due to the damage and the red flag, which was caused by him spinning out of the Scholler S's. So already parked up is the Philipp Eng car. He'll be going from P2. P3 will be Marco Wittmann, but P1 will go to this car. And the driver, Eduardo Mortara, is 47.843, sufficient to give him P1. The difference between P1 and P2, 47.843, 47.844. So Philipp Eng, rookie driver then, been on the podium this year. Out of the car, has done a stellar job in qualifying and beaten by 1,000th to that pole position. So big crowds here already to enjoy this qualifying. And they have some single-seater racing coming up next, because it will be Formula 3 on track. But confirmation of qualifying for race 7 then: Edo Mortara P1, then it was Philipp Eng, Marco Wittmann, Gary Paffett, Paul di Resta, Daniel Juncadella, Lucas Auer, Timo Glock, Bruno Spangler and Nico Müller. Then it was Joel Eriksson, Augusto Farfus, Jamie Green, Pascal Wehrlein, Loic Duval, Robin Frins, Mike Rockenfeller and René Rast, rounding out the qualifying. So there from P3 it will be Marco Wittmann, and he climbs out of his car. So the top 3, Marco Wittmann P3, Philipp Eng P2 and Edo Mortara P1. Pole position for the Mercedes-Benz driver. And there he is, the focus of media upon him, of course, having put together the perfect lap in qualifying. Edo doing a very good job. The qualifying punctuated then by René Rast, clattering into the wall. And here, super slow-mos to the top 3. Marco Wittmann, first of all, will be going from P3. From P2, also for BMW, it's Philipp Eng. And P1, pole position for the race to come this afternoon. The 47.843, Eduardo Mortara. What a star you are. Here comes the grid then that we can expect this afternoon. The front row, Eduardo Mortara and Philipp Eng. Then we find Marco Wittmann and Gary Paffett, P3 and P4, as the BMW and Mercedes-Benz dominance continues. On to row 3 with Paul di Resta and Daniel Juncadella. Then it's Lucas Auer and Timo Glock going from the 4th row of the grid, P7 and P8. Bruno Spangler before the first of the Audis that we see, Nico Muller, there P9 and P10 respectively, ahead of Joel Eriksson and Augusto Farfus. Then we find Jamie Green and Pascal Wehrlein on the 7th row of the grid, P13, P14 for this afternoon's race, with Loic Duval and Robin Frins going from P15 and P16, and Mike Rockenfeller and Rennie Rast bringing up the final row of the grid for the race to come this afternoon. So there you can see Edo Mortara centre, Philip Eng to the left-hand side, Marco Wittmann to the right-hand side. So there we have it. We are very much looking forward to the race to come this afternoon, which will feature those 3 on the first 2 rows of the grid. One thing is guaranteed at the Norisring: the action will come thick and fast when it comes to the race this afternoon.
That really was an exciting qualifying, the 7th of the season. And now, of course, we're looking forward to the race today. And let's see if Mercedes brings it home or BMW, because they're extremely strong here. So let's see, and the action will continue in just a bit at the race. So see you then. Here are the highlights.